Astronauts to the moon.
How's it going, everyone? Jeranism again, back with another video for you. Today I think I've got a good one, packed full of important information. So, let me start by asking those of you watching to please open your mind. I know a lot of you guys are starting to see some of the deceptions, starting to open your mind a little bit, but I'm more looking at the ones who are watching who have completely shut off anything outside of what they currently believe. And I'm just asking you for one video, open your mind, please. I beg you, just this one time. Pretend that you aren't the smartest human on earth. Understand that I don't claim to know every fact. And to be honest, there's some facts that will never be known simply because they've been hid too well. But if you're a human being with a brain and you're not afraid of your own stupidity, it's okay to question things. You know, what does that hurt? One of my subscribers wrote one of the best comments I've seen the other day, so I have to share it because it's what being a human means. And he said, in the past 7 days, I have gone from knowing the earth was round to really believing the earth could be flat. And I thought that was a great admission. So all I ask you guys is to listen, be open to what I'm saying, and then question me, debunk me, prove me wrong, you know, disagree with me. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's science. You know, how is it that this has been forgotten? I don't know. You know, you forgot what it's all about. No question should be closed to debate, not one. Yet science has shut down all debates. They shut down questions. They shut off thinking. They close doors. They close minds. Close discussions. You know, all you science fans love to make fun of the popes of the 16th and 17th century. Laugh, and make fun of them because they refused to hear arguments outside of their dogma at the time. Wow, how unscientific. Sound familiar? I mean, NASA doesn't answer any questions. Brian Cox won't answer an open letter. I guess it's easier just to collect a paycheck. But you do need to use your mind. You know, NASA's not going to come out and say, oh, the moon landings were a hoax. Never. So does that mean we just accept it and move on, or can we actually use our minds? I mean, if you've watched my videos or any of the other guys talking about this stuff, would you at least admit that at the very least that the flat versus ball earth is not quite as 100% fact as you thought? If you can admit that, then why were we taught to laugh at it? Can't you see that every single thing that we were taught in school was to make us become who they wanted? Did we learn about killing and fooling the Indians? Did we learn about killing all their buffalo so they had nothing to eat? Did we ever hear that Roosevelt knew about Pearl Harbor? I mean, think about what we were taught. That America, the great and powerful and the wonderful, had but one goal, and that was to spread democracy. Is that the truth? Well, if you haven't realized it yet, this world runs on money. We are slaves. I mean, we work to make the rich get richer. World War I made the rich richer. World War II made the rich richer. The lies in the Gulf of Tonkin and 9/11, everything made the rich get richer. Iraq and their oil. I mean, who is the greatest inventor of the 20th century? I mean, that alone should just tell you so much. You know, who weren't we taught? We weren't taught about Tesla at all. You know, the inventor of alternating current. The one who developed and used fluorescent light bulbs 40 years before they were invented. The inventor of X-rays, the inventor of the radio, the inventor of the electric motor. How about the inventor of robotics? How about the inventor of laser? How about the inventor of wireless communication? I mean, take a look at his hundreds of patents, and all of it is suppressed by big industry and even our so-called institutions of higher education. So please forgive me if I don't just bow down to the scientific community, to the intellectual community. Forgive me for not just accepting everything I'm told anymore. I don't believe the words of men. Men lie. Now, every time I say that, I always see comments, well, then why should we believe you? Well, I say don't. I'm not your mommy and daddy. I'm not your teacher. I'm simply bringing up things that were hid from me because I've learned that they were also hid from you too. That's it. Go research it. Follow it up. Ask questions. For example, Wikipedia says that Antarctica isn't of much interest because it has little to no resources. Did Wikipedia go there? I mean, Richard Byrd did, and his exact words were vast resources in Antarctica, untouched resources, coal that would last the entire world a long, long time, oil, uranium. He even said that it was once a tropical paradise. Huh? I mean, we need to ask these questions and demand truth. We can't just accept what we're given anymore. I mean, you need to ask yourself these questions. What has the ISS done for humanity? I mean, think of all the equipment and money wasted when we send the Soyuz up there and it comes back and loses 2 of its 3 parts to the atmosphere. Just lets it burn up. All that equipment, all that scientific equipment is just burned up and lost. For what? I mean, what is the Mars rover doing for humanity? Believe me when I tell you, we will never go to Mars. Okay? Just the other day, you may have seen that NASA tested their little saucer lander thing. Why? We already landed on Mars with the rover. So why are we testing new ways to land things on Mars? It's a waste of money. But they get away with it. So of course they're going to keep doing it. I mean, why is there no rover on the moon? Why is there no camera there? A simple camera should be simple, right, science fans? Send a little rover, drop a camera off, point it towards Earth. It's always there. It's our money. Demand it. Should be a 24-hour camera from the moon, since it always faces Earth, so that we can watch it turn 24 hours a day. There should be no issues. I mean, what has SpaceX or Dragon done? They provide supplies to the useless tin can up there, and everybody thinks they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. I mean, give me a break. We're just letting people get away with doing nothing. Also, I'm super excited about my coming test, but I must first give a huge thank you to Bob and Cammie from Colorado, who have graciously purchased for me the most awesome laser pointer package. It's on its way right now. I can't wait. They bought the laser, the tripod, the batteries, the goggles. It's pretty sweet. This thing's got a 50-mile range. I mean, I was looking for one with 3. I was beside myself with gratitude, so I wanted to say thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Best of luck to you guys, and can't wait to get the results one way or the other, because that's what science is. It's testing, it's verification, it's experimentation to get to the truth, not just conjecture. And one interesting point I did want to make to everyone out there that thinks I'm an idiot and everybody who watches my channel is an idiot, can't you see that we are just talking and discussing while you are the one yelling? I mean, when did you guys get so locked into this dogma? I mean, Bob, former Air Force pilot, electrical engineer, who spent years in the satellite industry, and even he has a mind open enough to say he's not sure. Something ain't right. And that's okay. Doesn't make him stupid. The stupid ones are the ones who stop asking questions, are the ones who just accept everything. Oh, it must be right. Smarter men than me have decided it's right. Those are the stupid ones. I mean, just blindly following science and every single thing they say makes you a follower. Nothing more. Does not make you smart. Does not make you an intellectual. Does not make you intelligent. It makes you a follower, which means to me, you've shut off your brain, you've closed your mind, and now you worship the dogma of your controllers. And what I'm going to say right now to you, you're going to deny, because I'm speaking out against your religion. I'm a heretic. But nobody has ever shown any movement of the Earth in space. Never. Of course, this isn't admitted, but it's covered up with hearsay and popular opinion, organizational rules, majority votes, analogies, personal convictions, persuasions. I mean, the simple fact is that science lies. There is no proof that we orbit the sun. Zero. It's a dogma, and it spells immediate excommunication from your pathetic little church of science. And this lie only needed to be put into science books in order for it to become truth, and you can't see that. I mean, honestly, tell me, have you looked into what you believe? Have you looked into it? I mean, you can be like Einstein you want and believe that lengths shrink when objects move and that time changes for each of the observers in the process and mass increases, or you can say that the Earth is motionless. It's the same thing. They're both science. I mean, when you're ready for the truth, realize you can't run to Wikipedia for answers. You can't run to your church fathers and your bishops and your priests and ask them. That's not the way it works. Go look at Airy's failure. Look at Michelson-Morley. These tests and experiments prove the Earth is stationary. But you want to believe we're whirling around at speeds no one's ever tested or seen. I mean, I honestly think you're just not looking into what you believe. First, the Earth was the center of the universe. Then, 400 years ago, Copernicus and his crew gave rise to the heliocentric opinion. But they gave no proof. So, as new questions arose throughout the last 400 years, various movements were basically invoked. Speeds were given, motions assigned. And all of these were given as if they were measured. They weren't measured. They were just guesses. They were mathematical formulas and equations that made their preconceived dogma fit. That's not science, guys, and you worship it. And if you love and trust all these great scientists of the past, why is it that you won't accept that they were God believers? Almost every one of them, all your heroes, Copernicus, Sir Francis Bacon, Kepler, Galileo. How about Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Tesla, Walter Russell, Descartes, Faraday, Mendel, Planck, Einstein, Newton, Marconi, Kelvin, Darwin, Pasteur, all these guys believed in a God. You're smarter than them? I digress. All I'm saying is know what you believe in. I did notice quite a few comments from people who didn't understand the test I said I was going to do, or didn't understand what I meant by it being fail-proof. So just to explain it again, I'm finding a location. We've got a couple in mind. We might need to scout them out first. That has two banks 3 miles across from each other. And we're going to put the laser about 6 inches, however tall the little tripod is, on the bank and shoot it across the water. Now, if you see this image here, if the Earth is curved, then it would be impossible for me to have the laser hit the other bank at 6 inches above the water. In order to do that, I would have to shoot it through the water. The only thing that should happen is when I shoot it, it should show up 6.5 feet above the water line. Very easy to tell, 6.5 feet versus 6 inches. If it's flat, that laser mark is going to show up 6 inches above that water line. So that's my plan, and hopefully that'll be done in a week or two. Got to wait for the laser and have a couple people going with me, make sure our schedules are good. And I hope to stream it or something. I admit I have no idea about that stuff. I'd never even made a video before I started this channel, so kind of clueless when it comes to how I stream or if I can from my cell phone or who knows, but I'll figure it out. So let's move on to the moon. And I have a question for you intellectuals. Help me out here. Now, you've heard a lot of people ask with the spinning Earth, why can't a plane lift off from New York, wait for the spinning Earth, then drop when San Francisco arrives? Now, we understand that you say Earth's atmosphere moves with the spinning Earth, so it would not be possible. So, I have a question. If the Earth were really going 66,000 miles per hour around the sun, then that means, using my moronic brain, that the moon must also be going 66,000 miles per hour as it follows and rotates us. So why don't your silly spaceships just get out into space and then wait? Flying to the moon took us 3 days, but if you just fly up and wait, it would take you less than 4 hours. Or is the atmosphere of space also like the atmosphere of the Earth? Please do tell, because it just makes zero sense. And are you just going to go run to NASA and ask them? They seem to be the only authority you can go to for space-related questions, huh? And don't cross them. You could end up like Gus Grissom, or how about the safety inspector, Thomas Ronald Barron? Now, to me, the icebreaker, the one conspiracy that is kind of the gateway drug, if you will, is the moon landing. I think once you can get that through your mind, once you can accept that we've never been to the moon, everything else will flow, everything else will make sense. But I've seen all the sites, and I know who you guys are. You're the ones who like to be on the side of the intellectuals. You don't want to be the ones being laughed at, so when you go to a site and 2 or 3 people make good points about the moon landing being a hoax, and then you get people laughing and berating them, well, you want to be on the side of those laughing, never the side of those being laughed at. Difference between you and me is simple. I don't give a fuck. Don't care if you laugh at me, don't care if I'm retarded, because I know that who laughs at who is no sign of intelligence. Look at these guys at the post-flight press conference for Apollo 11. Do they seem happy to you? Now, don't get me wrong. Don't come back at me and say that's not proof, because I'm not saying it is proof. What I'm saying is you need to add everything into the story and make your own conclusion, not what other men say. Neil Armstrong became a recluse. Moved and stayed in his house and didn't talk to anybody, no interviews. Sure, he had a few. But this is the first man to walk on the moon, man's greatest achievement. And the one who was the first one to do it went into hiding. Buzz Aldrin became an alcoholic. Made a fortune selling all the things he said were in his pockets. Quarters and dimes that he sold for $10,000 and $20,000 each. Have you read Buzz Aldrin's book or know anything about his mom? She killed herself a year before he went to the moon because she didn't like the idea of the media attention her son would be receiving. Very, very peculiar. Then, to add to that, he went to the doctor, as his family did, and told the doctor to lie about her cause of death so that they wouldn't attract media attention. So the doctor did, and until he wrote his book, nobody understood what really happened to her. As I've said before, don't trust men. Men lie. Here we have a nice motivational poster. It says accomplishments. You can fool all of the people all of the time if your effects budget is large enough. Ain't that the truth? And if you have the free pass of being scientific. So anything you say, any explanation you'll give is taken by the community to be fact, even though you're liars. Now, I'm absolutely positive that anybody in their right mind would have to agree that if we did go to the moon, it was man's greatest achievement. Imagine how well kept those records would be. Well, I hope you've done your research and know that NASA has lost all the data, the blueprints, the records from the Apollo missions. Lost them. Following the Freedom of Information requests in America, NASA admitted it had lost all the original video footage of the Apollo missions. Unfortunately, it isn't just the video footage that's missing. Also, allegedly, beamed back from the moon was the voice data, the biomedical monitoring data, the telemetry data that monitored the location and the functioning of the spaceship. All of that data, the entire alleged record of the moon landings, was on 13,000 plus reels that are missing. They're gone. Also missing, according to NASA and its various subcontractors, are all the original plans and the blueprints for all the lunar modules, for the spacesuits and for the lunar rovers, and the entire multi-sectioned Saturn V rocket. And you just allow that. It's a joke. And this is exactly what I mean when I say they've got a get out of jail free card. I mean, what if religion said, we have proof of God, on 13,000 reels of video footage, but we lost it. We have all the blueprints of how he made the world, but we lost it. Sorry. And this isn't just like a box or 2 boxes. This is over 900 boxes. You don't lose 900 boxes unless you lose them on purpose. I mean, what is this picture that shows a man drawing the moon on a big screen, making sure it's meticulous and perfect, with a track next to it? I mean, what do you think that picture is of? Does this seem possible? Take a look at each Apollo mission and look at the amount of time they spent on the moon's surface doing their little projects. Then look at the amount of photos that they took. That averages out to about a photo a minute. I think it's even less than that. I mean, look at Apollo 16, for example. 1,214 minutes on the moon's surface. They brought back 1,765 photos. Go watch the video of Apollo 16 and how much time they weren't taking photos. Then tell me if that's possible. Now, during Apollo 11, guess how many times either Houston or Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin mentioned taking a photo of the Earth? 0. You would think that'd be kind of important, being the first time they've been there. You would think that'd be the one picture that they absolutely needed to get. It's never mentioned. Go read the transcripts, watch the videos. Not mentioned. Now, when you look at our moon, just where is the hot spot? Where are the shadows on the top and the bottom? I did a little experiment. I did not have a moon globe, but I do have a globe. So I hung that from my ceiling, and then I put one light source in the room. So there's the globe. You'll see I have one light source shining at the globe from behind me here. And you'll see that hot spot. See it right in the middle of the globe, the bright light kind of reflecting off of it. Then you'll also notice that the top and the bottom are clearly shadowed. No matter where I move, you have that hot spot there. And also, as I said, the top and bottom are clearly not as bright as the middle. But that's not the way our moon works. Look at it when it's full and tell me if you see shadows at the top and bottom, or tell me if you see a hot spot. And they could prove that we did very easily. They could send a satellite or a moon rover. They could just circle the moon and take pictures of the rover, the flag, the LEMs that they left there. But they don't. They could take photos of the testing equipment. But they don't, because you don't require it of them. Now, some of you are going to say, no, they have taken pictures before. They have showed us where it's at. Let me show you what they did. Again, with their get-out-of-jail-free card, because they're scientists and NASA, you've allowed this to be proof, and we'll throw this around in forums and yell it in comments. They did take pictures. They showed where everything was. So I'm not sure if I told you, maybe I did in one other video, but about 20 years ago, my dad and I drove a Ford Focus from San Francisco, California to Hawaii. I know a lot of people don't believe me, so I do have some proof. So now, no more questions on that. I've obviously showed you photographic evidence that did in fact take place. So no more questions. So why does everyone, or at least 80% of the United States at least, think we went to the moon? Well, one, because NASA says so, and they're scientific. Number two, the implications if we did not. Number three, people are afraid to admit that they've been fooled. 4, they are afraid to go against the crowd. 5, they're scared what it means about America. Time to face facts. 6, scared of what it means about space. Yep, can't go there. 7, scared of what the thought does to their heroes like Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong. And number 8, they're just scared. If they had a choice between being scared and having to go research more and maybe finding out a truth they didn't want to find out, they're just happier saying, nope, we went. Smart people say so. End of story. Regarding access to information from the Space Act of 1958, Section 303 says, information obtained or developed by the administrator in the performance of his functions under the Act shall be made available for public inspection except when the information authorized or required by the federal statute to be withheld, and B, information classified to protect national security. So, of course, you should easily see how the implications of us not going to the moon have a huge impact on national security. I mean, think about what you actually believe. Our solar system all rotates just one of those little tiny spots there on the screen. I mean, are you crazy? And only NASA, the liars, can travel to see all this. Here we have this convenient picture of the Earth. And by the way, if you were looking for the best place to go where there's no clouds, it is always over the ocean, because clouds gravitate to the Earth, the land masses. Crazy. Or you have this image. Two globes look awfully familiar, don't they? They even have the same cloud pattern. But some of the Earth has changed. It's no longer green. It's just crazy. I mean, at this point, I honestly think you'll believe anything. What is this? Honestly, guys, it makes me sick to my stomach. I don't even know what's going on. Yet people believe that's space. That's the universe. What is this? And I'm stupid. I'm dumb. I'm a moron because I think the Earth is flat, but you trust that image. When these are the most recent pictures of Pluto, but they know exactly what galaxies look like 350,000 light years away. But Pluto looks like a blurry dot. And now I really hope that you're starting to doubt NASA. Or if you have any questions, you can ask this panel. They clearly know exactly what they're talking about. Yet you swear by them. You believe them. You give them fame. And you give them your money and demand nothing in return. I mean, to me, the moon is a disk. There's a lot of evidence for that. It's self-illuminating. This we know because a body can only reflect what it's given, and the moon's light comes off as cold, which is quite different than the sun. The sun shines on a fire, the fire gets extinguished. When a moon shines on a fire, it burns increasingly and more vividly. If during the day you put a thermometer in the shade, it will register lower than when it's directly in the sun. But at night, if you put a thermometer in the shade, it registers higher than when it's on the moon. They're giving off different energies. We all know you can take a magnifying glass to the sun and burn paper or burn ants. Did you know that if you take a magnifying glass even 3,000 times magnifying glass to the moon, it will not increase a thermometer 1 degree? I mean, the fact is, a sphere cannot reflect as they state it can. Just as you saw in my little example here in the room with the globe, it had that one single hot spot. That's how it would work on a sphere, not the story that they tell us. We never went to the moon. Wake up. Use your brain. Now, let me take a quick detour. I'm about to show off my nerdiness, a personal fact about me that actually may cause me to lose some subscribers, but I don't care. It is me. I'm real. You don't like it? Oh well. Give me a break. But I've always been, and still am, a huge WWE fan. I've actually even been to a few WrestleManias. I find it enjoyable. I find it funny. Yeah, it's fake, but at least they don't pretend to be real, NASA. But there's a wrestler that I think of lately whenever I think of NASA for some reason, and that wrestler is Kurt Angle. He was billed when he came to the WWE as the All-American Hero. He was and still is the only Olympic gold medal winner in the WWE. He won a gold medal in wrestling in, I think, the 96 Olympics. I could be wrong about that. But when he came to WWE, he got a very big push by the WWE, and he got a patriotic entrance song. He wore red, white, and blue. But after a few months, his kind of pompous attitude and just the way he acted made people turn on him. And if you've ever watched WWE before, you may notice that often the crowd can do things that even the WWE could have never expected. So when I think of NASA, it always makes me think of Kurt Angle's entrance. I'll let you listen And what's so funny is his patriotic entrance song, and he was supposed to be a good guy, was turned on by the crowd when they decided to add the words "you suck" to it. So I have a dream that one day any mention of the word NASA is followed by everyone chanting, "You suck." I do not know why I find that so funny. Somebody needs to get Vince McMahon on the phone. That is a wrestler that anybody could grow to hate. The astronaut. So anytime we hear NASA's name in the future, I have this dream that everyone just chants, "You suck," over and over again. Now, did you see in space news today that the Soyuz capsule returned with astronauts Christopher Eddy and Terry Virts and the rest of those clowns? Welcome back. There's Terry Virts right there on the right, lying jackass. And behind him, having an off hair day, is Samantha Cristoforetti. Little too much eye makeup there, Sam. And they loaded in the capsule today. Somebody needs to tell me, how do they put their astronaut suits on when they get in that capsule? I don't know how. I don't want to look into it. I think it's all fake. It's all bullshit. It's all a show. Everything that they do is a show. So I wanted to show some video of their return. Of course, I watched it live because I am a loser. I won't make anybody watch the whole thing because I don't want to be responsible for any suicides. But I will show you a few important details and let you hear this jackass talk.
Also, within the last minute or so, the heat shield was jettisoned as planned after the parachute was commanded to deploy. This exposes the base of the Soyuz vehicle and its altimeters to provide information to the onboard computers regarding its altitude, rate of descent, and its range to touchdown. It also exposes the soft landing engines that will be fired just a few seconds before impact on the ground. Touchdown now less than 9 minutes from now.
Now, as always is the case, he threw in a bunch of words that really meant nothing. And always, there's something that you just missed. A minute ago, the heat shield was jettisoned. Just a minute ago, which released the parachute. And of course, we don't get to see the re-entry into the atmosphere because it doesn't happen if they get dropped out of a plane. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. Let's watch some more and listen to more smart man talk.
The journey for Anton Shkaplerov, Terry Virts, and Samantha Cristoforetti that began with their launch on November 24th from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan is just minutes from concluding. 199 days in space and aboard the International Space Station. 3,184 orbits
Watch the
of the
sky
Earth.
change. Live camera feed.
Million miles traveled.
Oh, would you look at that? But everyone will just allow it. It's not a big deal. It's NASA who did it. Anybody else who claimed something was live and had a switch where the complete color of the background changed, I mean, come on.
And you can see one of those helicopters flying in the foreground with the Soyuz behind it.
Ooh, helicopters, science, ooh, technology.
Just a few clouds in the area. Conditions very good. Temperatures in the mid-80s.
And guys, I'm trying to teach you how to tell that this is fake. Watch. Why can't we get a better view of the landing? Why is the landing taken from so far away when they've got the helicopters circling? Those helicopters can't have a video camera. Heaven forbid we see up close. Or do you ever see when they open the hatch? All this stuff is a show. It's an act. It's clowns.
And there's the landing site. Touchdown seconds from now.
Now, if you ask me, and I'm just an idiot and a retard, moron, all that stuff, it looks like the cloud of smoke comes up way too late, right? They already hit. They hit the ground. Now you can see they hit the ground, right? Where's the smoke?
And we have touchdown. You can see the reefing of the chute on the horizon. Touchdown at 8:44 a.m. Central Time, 7:44 p.m. at the landing site in Kazakhstan. The Expedition 43 crew, Terry Virts, Anton Shkaplerov,
They never
and
left
Samantha Cristoforetti are
retard
back on
boy
Earth.
Announcer. Now, here's another thing, very interesting to point out. They've already landed, right? Isn't it about time that the search and rescue helicopters land? No. What do? They perform a nice circular pattern to where they just circle the area. Why? Because you're not allowed anywhere near there, nor are any reporters that aren't approved by NASA. It's very, very important that only military personnel are there to get these astronauts, these heroes, these brave men and women who are in space out of their little capsule. It's a bullshit.
Kazakhstan, the search and recovery helicopters now will begin to land in sequential fashion. You can see the helicopters now making their way, hovering around in a racetrack pattern around the spacecraft. The first order of business, the initial helicopter will be equipped with the personnel that will deploy the inflatable medical tent nearby that the crew members will be brought into after they're extracted from the spacecraft. And once they have an opportunity to be placed in comfortable chairs near their Soyuz vehicle for a quick acclimation back into Earth's gravity.
I love science and I love intellectualism. The helicopters will land in sequential fashion rather than them both simultaneously landing, which would be unscientific. And now, intellectual scientific thoughts by jeranism. I love evolution. There's been over 5 billion species in Earth's history. And we all came from one, you know. Then one evolved into two, then two into three, all for 4.5 billion years. 5 billion species in 4.5 billion years. That's more than one a year. I wonder what species have evolved into new species in the past 100 years. Huh? What? Seriously. Never? Evolution is bullshit! Now, you know, I like to come with new proofs of the flat Earth versus the globular theory. And in this case, let's talk about the Lake P-Train Bridge. I like calling it P-Train because I don't know how to pronounce it. So, the Lake P-Train Causeway, sometimes known as only the Causeway, is composed of two parallel bridges crossing Lake P-Train in southern Louisiana, United States. The longer of the two bridges is 23.83 miles. So, being that the bridge is 24 miles long, we can do the math and come up with 384 feet of curvature. And that is not at all what you see. Worse than that, here is their description of how they accounted for the curvature of the Earth. They said, to compensate for the curvature of the Earth, the causeway was built roughly 2 inches longer than the distance spans.
No, you're doing it all wrong.
Oh boy. You can see how tall 384 feet is, taller than any of these items here. The Saturn V, the Statue of Liberty, Big Ben. So, I don't know how that works other than the Earth is flat.
Whatever.
This just in. Space news. Even though I say space is fake, everyone's been telling me what an idiot I am. They say space is real. NASA's not the only one going to space. SpaceX was a private company and doing it for the right reasons. And when they got that government job, everyone just kind of turned their back on it and said, that's okay, they just got a government contract, it's okay. But now, SpaceX announced it has been granted permission by the United States military to launch spy satellites. And you don't think that they're going to be controlled by the government? Sure. Anyway, guys, it's time to wake up, realize the lies, realize the deception, and move past it. We did not go to the moon. We'll never go to the moon. So get over that. And if you wondered how those guys do in the International Space Station, you can take a look at this little training exercise they've got for some of the military guys in the zero gravity simulator. You'll notice that they stay grounded by wrapping their feet under those little bars, which just so happen to be the exact same thing that they use on the International Space Station. So if you wondered what they're doing, flying planes, making jokes at your expense on your penny, they suck. And that's pretty much all there is to it. But I'm going to keep trying to wake who I can, because this one world government is coming soon. They're trying. If you didn't notice, all the airlines are now together. They all joined together to be one global. You can go online. It's either Global One or One Global. It's a joke. More of the rich getting richer, as you'll notice, is quite a theme nowadays. So for me personally, I'm excited. My next video will be on religion for the many, many emails I get. I did want to tell everybody, as my voice is going, I did want to tell everybody that I'm getting to your emails and your messages and your comments as fast as I can. I'm trying. Like I said, I wish I could do this full time, but I can't. Mortgage and wife and kids and job and bills and eat and feed the dog, all that fun stuff. So I do promise I'll get back to you if you absolutely need me. Best way is email. The comments are a little hard to manage, but if you send me an email, it may be a day or two, but I will get back to you. So this is jeranism. Until next time, take care of each other. Don't lie to each other. Open your mind. There's truth inside. Just don't you dare forget, next time you are thinking of NASA, do not forget to think about how much they suck. Peace.